Welcome guys, it's Josh here. Just going to quickly run through a video to show you how to work out how many calories you need to be on to achieve whatever goal you have. Okay, so whether or not you would like to lose weight, gain weight, stay the same, I'm going to run through very quickly, hopefully quickly, on how to do that. So the first thing that we need to run through is how to basically we need to work out our BMR, our basal metabolic rate. Okay, so today I'm going to use this calculator up here. You can copy the same one. Otherwise, there are so many of them on Google. You can find one that suits pretty easy. Our basal metabolic rate is basically the amount of calories that you use on a daily basis. So the amount of calories you burn on a daily basis doing the activities that you do, breathing, thinking, working, whatever. We've got a little activity level tab down here. It gives you a little bit of, a better estimate, I guess. And this is where we always start. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to come down and plug in some basic details. First of all, if you're on this one, make sure that it is the metric version. You're going to enter your weight, and I'm just going to use an example person today. Going to make this one up. So our body weight for this person will be 65 kilos. Their height, 165, 28 years of age. We'll keep it on female. And then when we hit our activity level here, we're going to have an estimate as to where you sit. So for instance, if you don't train and you sit at a desk all day at work, little to no exercise, this is where you're going to sit. A lot of us, especially those of you that come into the gym to take up one of the programs, often sitting around this 3 to 5 days per week, which is the moderate level. So I'm going to use that as a bit of an example. However, if you were, for example, a tradie or someone that's in a very physical job and trains a few times a week, then you might be very active. It's just a matter of playing around where you think it sits. As always, nothing is 100%. It takes a little bit of trial and error. I'm going to click on the moderately active today. I'm going to calculate the number, and it comes down as 2,239 calories per day. Now, this might seem a lot, but this is telling us that that is the amount that you would need to eat to stay exactly as you are with the amount of exercise that you do currently. All right, so clearly, if you were looking to lose body fat, we're going to reduce this number. And if we're looking to increase our weight, which some people are, then we would be looking to increase this number. All right. Often the question is, how far do we reduce this number? Okay. And there's a couple of things that we need to quickly go over. All right. In terms of how much weight is an acceptable weight to lose per week. Now, the reason we always say about 500 grams per week, firstly, it seems to be a bit of a sweet spot in terms of being able to maintain as much muscle as possible, or if not gain it, while you're in that calorie deficit and trying to lose body fat. Okay, so that's why we always aim for around about that 500 grams when we're trying to give you a little bit of advice. Some people are going to go a little bit more aggressive than that, but we're always going to recommend that you look at 500 grams of body fat loss per week. So I'm going to run my example today off that number, okay? So I'll quickly share another screen so I can run through how this might look for you. This might get a little bit messy, bear with me. I have started this one just before. So what we know is that 7,000, or it takes a 7,700 calorie deficit to lose 1 kilo. Now, none of this, again, is 100%, but as a rough guide, we know that we have to be in a 7,700 calorie deficit to lose a kilo. So if we were looking at 500 grams loss, which is the most acceptable, as I mentioned, I'm going to quickly show you how to work this out. So your 7,000, we're going to do everything over the course of a week as well, so over a weekly average, okay? So when we look at a 7,700 calorie deficit over 7 days, we're talking about an 1,100 calorie deficit per day. Because we're looking at a 500 gram loss, We're then going to divide this number here again by 2, which is going to give us a deficit of 550 calories per day. So if you were to reduce your BMR by 550 calories per day, which is, of course, this number back here. I'll go back and onto the screen. We were to reduce this number here by 550 calories per day. Over the course of 7 days, in theory, you should be losing roughly about 500 grams per week. Now remember that things don't always work like that. There's going to be some up weeks, some down weeks. The overall trend is what's important. We want to see the overall trend going down. Okay, and as mentioned, a 500 gram average per week is a really nice spot in terms of from what we see in being able to maintain as much muscle mass as possible. All right, your number one goal when losing weight should be to lose body fat, not just weight, but body fat. We don't want to lose muscle because that is going to have the opposite effect of what we want, and it's going to reduce your BMR. Over time, what you guys need to be looking at is trying to work out how we can increase BMR, but that's another day, another topic. Okay, so to go back to this, if we were to look at reducing this by 550 calories per day, you can do the maths here pretty easy. We're going to be looking at about 1689, I believe. Just make sure that is correct. 1600, so roughly 1700 calories per day to create a 500 gram loss per week. All right. So very simply, 1700 calories today to achieve a 500 gram loss per week. Now you can obviously go a little bit more aggressive than that, but we're never going to say a kilo a week is a great option, simply because you're then going to be eating around about 1100 calories per day to achieve something like that. You're eating 1100 calories per day, you're not even fueling your body for what it needs in terms of being able to think. Your energy, you're going to have hard crashes, you're going to feel unenergetic, basically you're going to feel terrible. So we want to make sure that we keep that gap as minimal as possible, which is going to then help maintain your muscle mass, still achieve a fat loss over the course of a weekly average. And of course, multiply that again by 10 weeks, we're going to have a 5 kilo weight loss, or hopefully fat loss over the course of that time as well. All right, so what I want you guys to do at some stage is to go in, have a look at the calculator, plug in your details, work out what your BMR is, right? Do the maths, remembering that it's about 550 calories to reduce this number by per day to achieve a 3,500 calorie deficit over the course of a week, which is going to give you roughly a 500 gram loss per week. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, email in and you can contact me on josh@pumpedfit.com.au and I'll answer any questions that you've got in there. All right, thanks guys.